Alright, finally back. It's been ages. And we're sat on the deck of the new iLodge house. It's pretty sick. And we're joined by Jess Blewitt. What do you reckon of the house?
It's a sweet spot. Yeah, definitely the location to be able to build some sick stuff in the backyard.
Pump track. You see the pump track outside?
Yeah.
And the big Buddha that we might test this afternoon?
Yeah,
You're going to send it first?
Yeah, I wish. Not yet.
But I'm sure people have seen a bit about this on Instagram, but there's plenty more to come. I don't think it's actually been fully released yet, so keep your eyes peeled on Instagram on the iLab page and stuff for that. But yeah, Jess, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, mate. We said we weren't going to be that official, but
Oh, well, you've made it official now.
I've made it official.
Yeah.
Well, what are you up to at the moment?
Currently, into some full-on rehab recovery since my injury that I had in snowshoes. So yeah, we're pretty busy with physio and that sort of stuff. So yeah.
So how's everything been since? So the last thing most of us will have seen is obviously the crash, and then from there, how was the journey getting home and the hospitals over there? How was all that for you?
The hospital in America was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then had a big journey home. So
What was how did you have surgeries and things in the hospital? So it was all done over there.
Everything was done in the hospital pretty much.
Yeah.
Feme was done the next day. So yeah, big rod, couple screws, and then did the collarbone about a week later. So just the plate and screws. So yeah, and then the journey home was quite long. So originally I had my quarantine date to come do MIQ here. Booked on the 28th, so leave on the 26th, and then that day kind of passed over, and I was like, okay, how else am I going to get home now? How do I, what even happens there? And then, ended up doing basically air ambulance, and they pick you up in...
What's that like? Is it a bit like first class, or is it just pretty average?
It is a bit like first class, except at that point I wouldn't really call it first class.
I guess you're not in comfortable.
No, exactly. So yeah, it was a big long 6-hour flight from Virginia to LA, and then LA to New Zealand was business class with two kind of nurses who flew over from New Zealand to kind of help me on the way.
Because that's what I was going to ask. None of your family would have been able to fly out either, really. No. So, but you weren't all by yourself getting back yet.
No, I had 2 other Kiwis with me, but full PPE gear. It's quite entertaining actually. And then did another kind of it feels like a private jet sort of situation.
Oh, nice.
From Auckland to Christchurch, and then did my MIQ there. Well, spent 4 days in the hospital first, and then
how was anyone with you while you're in the hospital in Virginia?
I had the team manager from GT. He was there with me the first kind of week. Yeah. And then Katie Holden joined me the second week. So it was probably the best combination to have for the 2 weeks. So
you went all alone, because again that must have been pretty tough. Everyone, I guess, flying back to most places would have had flights they had to catch and things. So
or you get flown straight home sort of thing. But I had 1 day where I didn't have anyone with me, and it was like, oh my gosh, could this day be any longer sort of situation. So it was nice to have someone join me for the whole kind of 2 weeks.
No niggles getting back after that, you say, just a couple of flights and then back to, you say, Christchurch?
Yeah, and then 2 weeks in MIQ. So
nice. Were you on crutches by the time you got back? Were you pretty much weight bearing?
No, so
did it take weight bear after surgery?
I was still in a wheelchair basically, I'd say the whole first week of MIQ, and then towards the second week I started then walking with the crutches, and I had my walker as well. So I had already been walking with the
little Zimmer frame.
Yeah, win the granny races. But I had the Zimmer frame for... I actually had that, they gave me that in the hospital anyway. So I'd been using that for a wee bit, but I guess at that point I didn't quite have the energy or that sort of thing to actually use it quite a lot, so I was kind of stuck in the wheelchair.
And I guess with broken collarbone, the strength of the arm throw is not great, even with the plate in there, or...
Well, that was actually kind of good. It was more just the leg. I don't know, just... Yeah.
Well, it's quite a bigger break compared to a collarbone. A collarbone's like your standard mountain bike.
Yeah.
Was that the first collarbone you broke as well?
Yeah, first collarbone.
Oh, there you go. Tick it off.
Yeah.
Tick off like the most common bone with the biggest one.
Yeah. Hopefully not another one. Touch wood.
Yeah. But and then that was sweet. And then were you still? Your family couldn't come and see you in MIQ either while you were here.
No,
in the hospital? Or?
Yeah, Mum joined me in MIQ.
Oh, so she could like quarantine with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that must have been quite nice. How was she when she finally saw him? Must have been tough on the family seeing the crash and not being able to like come and find you like straight away.
Yeah, she wasn't quite. Yeah, as you know, I guess mothers. Yeah, so I can only imagine. But yeah, so
yeah, she must have been pretty happy to get there. Or was it?
Yeah. No, she was happy to get me home, and then I guess had to come join me because that was the only way that things were going to work. So, yeah.
And then did you drive down from Christchurch or did you fly again from there back into Queenstown?
Yes, we drove, so Mum and Dad drove up together and then I guess Dad went home and then, Mum and I drove back because at that point I couldn't quite bend my knee past, I think it must have been probably not even 15 degrees, so there was no way I could sit
straight.
there was no way I could like sit in the plane for like... I mean, it's not that long. What, an hour and something? Yeah.
Yeah, but still, if you can't bend, it doesn't...
Yeah, so I was like, I'm just going to...
stand up for the whole flight.
So I was like, I'm going to sit in the car for 5 hours and drive home. Yeah, I mean, both options weren't so great, so yeah.
At least the view's quite nice out the window of the car.
Yeah.
Even if it's quite
True.
long.
Yeah.
If anyone's done it. And then now, how's recovery going? How long's it been since that last race?
We're coming up. It's almost 10 weeks, I believe, so...
It's not really too long, a couple of months, 2.5 months.
2 and a bit months, something like that. Yeah, so, no, we're actually... Today was quite a milestone. I managed to spin, I guess, a full revolution on the bike.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, you said you've been doing half cranks for a little while.
Yeah, I've been stuck with the not even getting a full crank round, and then, today just managed to... It's kind of a bit of an awkward move, but, yeah, some... sweet with that, and then did a bit of like
and that's with
weight stuff.
No resistance, I guess, as well. That's just that purely just that that bend in the leg.
Yeah. Well, we're still working on the bend, but yeah, it's getting there. So.
Yeah, the pedals are in. Well, the progress now is probably going to be getting back on a normal bike. Do you know? Have you got any time frames in mind that you'd like to accomplish yourself?
I mean,
because the doctors always give you a bit of
I mean, I kind of. So I've got my, I guess, it'll be a 12-week checkup, and that'll be in 2 and a bit weeks now. Yeah. So, I guess he'll probably give me a bit of a brief idea then. But from what I know, it just depends on how like healed it is. Like it kind of the femur has to be fully healed before they'll kind of let you on a bike. Just well, that's from a doctor's perspective. Yeah. So I guess like people kind of. Go around that, but I kind of feel like for me I want to just like give my body enough time anyway to fully recover and heal, and otherwise you start risking a bit of injury to other things or the same thing. So
we've got a long season as well. I think it's quite hard, I think, for a lot of people, especially maybe more so in somewhere like Queenstown where there's so much riding, people out every single night as well.
Yeah.
The FOMO. How's the FOMO been?
The FOMO's not great.
Especially with Instagram as well.
It's the one place you don't want to be when you're injured, so it's tough.
But you'll wait till 12 week, and then if it's when they say fully knitted, then you'll even start thinking about it after that. I'm
hoping January, end of January, maybe start getting on it then. But even then, probably wait a little bit more and just do like more fitness based stuff, strength and. Build it up first before I decide to do that stuff.
Have you got any competitions in mind to do? Like, are you just going to hold fire on even thinking about that step yet?
It's a tricky one because I really wanted to. I did want to do a couple national races anyway before I injured myself. So we're pushing it a little bit, but I mean, I guess. See how I feel and decide then. I mean, I'd love to do Coronet, obviously, home track.
Yeah, you smashed Coronet last year. Where did you position overall?
I won that one.
Yeah, well,
overall.
we smoked the women's category, and then I think in the men's you weren't even.
I wasn't too far off.
No, you're
pretty close. Yeah.
Podium probably is most of the men's categories too.
I think
He was
the
like-
open men, I was getting close to
You're
the
close.
podium. So.
Masters men, I think you were what,
Yeah.
second or third?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I was pushing Krug actually.
Yeah, Kruger's
I think
a
so, yeah.
bit scared, I reckon, at that one.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens for Coronet, and then obviously national champs that's a tough one.
Where's that this
That's
year?
Christchurch again.
Okay, yeah.
So,
It's a pretty tough, like pretty brutal track, I think.
I wasn't more
Gets real
thinking
dry
that. I
and
was
rough.
just thinking time frame again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to have the sleeve again. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, so you don't feel like you haven't taken a kind of a knockback mentally with the crash? That hasn't really phased you too much?
not really. If anything, I just want to get back on my bike. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I
that's
guess
awesome.
you always find that out when you actually get back on the bike, and you're like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
take it nice and slow. But yeah, for now I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think one of the few things people have commented, like talking before this, is like how you like there seems to be no doubt in anyone's mind that you're going to come back and just almost like kick on from where you left off.
Yeah.
You know, you
Well, I
seem to be
hope
like
so.
quite mentally already prepared to take that next step, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. From like that, how did you feel things were going up to that point? I'd say your season was pretty.
Yeah, it was
Pretty damn good.
It was pretty good for my first season.
Was that your like rookie season? Go like
Rookie season.
moto terms here, or in
Um,
the like the
well,
open
'cause
class, senior class?
I guess
Or
you
had you
could
done?
call it that in a way.
Yeah.
I didn't do juniors,
No.
obviously COVID last year, and then haven't raced internationally at all until this year. So yeah, first year, and then I guess you could probably call it a
Rookie
year,
season,
rookie
yeah.
season, yeah. So yeah, no, I was pretty happy with it. I mean, Leo Gang, yeah, that was a tough one, first race.
That
ever,
was-
so.
Because was it a dry practice and then wet, or was it wet all week?
It was a bit on and off. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think it was ever fully dry.
Yeah.
And then that's a tough one. Yeah.
And then what is it? You just because you didn't manage to qualify at the first one,
No.
but you did have a crash.
Yeah, I had a bit of a stupid crash, but also a bit of like the whole pressure situation with
Yeah.
like first race, like not sure what to expect. Didn't quite know where I was gonna stack up, and so went a bit, healthily, you could say.
And racing, you'd never raced. What was the biggest race you'd done to that point? Because I guess in terms of
Crankworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Crankworks 2020. Yeah.
Because just being able to like put yourself up against those guys, you probably not to sort of turn it down a bit, but you probably haven't had the most like compared to some of those
Yeah,
international girls. You
yeah.
haven't had like a stacked field, I guess, compared to what they've had. Like being able to race IXS or even like British nationals and things, you've got quite a bigger stacked female field.
Yeah, well,
As-
there's no real way to like kind of compare yourself or like know where you sit. So, although Crankworks, that was kind of a good one for me. Obviously, I won under 19, and then I was actually second behind Tracy.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I did beat the rest of that group.
Yeah. So a bit of a confidence boost. But
Yeah.
a big gap between that and the first World Cup because Fort William was cancelled.
Yeah.
And
Well, I guess
You
they
weren't
were
going to
all
go to that one though, eh?
cancelled.
Or were you?
I can't quite remember, but I don't think I was. No.
But
It
still.
was more towards the end of the year, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah,
things
so
get a bit
I
colder
guess-
here and then-
yeah, ski season and everything kind of changes. But yeah, COVID and whatnot.
So yeah, you got over to Europe. How long were you in Europe before you went to Leergang, or was it like straight in?
No, so we literally went. Well, I literally went from formation. I think it was like the day after, or 2 days after. Flew straight to Austria, and then Leo Gang basically straight after that. So
Yeah.
we went straight into it.
Yeah, nice. My mind's gone blank on what the rounds were this year, but we had. Was it Leger after Leergang, or did you have one in between?
Yeah,
That?
so we had Leger after Leo Gang,
Which-
and then that one I also had a stupid crash and some moto ruts.
Yeah.
Which
I think that
really
you,
deep.
if you'd made that qualification, though, I think you would have had a pretty damn good race run because you turned a
I've
few heads. I
heard
think with that.
I did, yeah.
That road gap seemed to be like quite intimidating to a lot of the riders, like not just in the female category, and you
Also
just
the
seem
men,
to
yeah.
smoke it. Because
Yeah.
what practice are you in as well? It's split between A and B's. Do you get?
Bs.
So you're
Yeah,
in the
all the
Bs
girls
as
are
well.
in B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you find that as well, having that split?
To be honest, I don't really know, because I feel like B practice, and a lot of girls have actually kind of said this too, when you're with the junior boys and the junior girls, I guess, you don't really have the pressure of like the, really fast guys kind of coming up you.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, well, that will put you off.
Yeah.
Like, because you want to go...
You want to go fast, but then you don't want to have someone come fast behind you.
And then, push you faster than what you want to go, and like, especially in practice.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy with the B practice, but I guess sometimes certain World Cups will put top 5 female into the A practice, but
yeah, you saw that step down, like, take out a few people, and in the females, I think there was, I can't remember who, somebody just rode off it as well. I think they quite bad, but yeah, you had no issues. Just
I didn't have any issues, no, but Marine did have a big crash on it, a few other guys as well, but yeah, there weren't many of us girls actually hitting it, but yeah,
but again, hitting it as clean as comfortably as you, I don't think there was many. even the men's, it was quite a good vital roar coming from that. Lots of people like going over the berm. It was quite gnarly, but yeah, it was good. You seem to have it pretty confident, and
yeah.
But was it the motorists, were they up the top of the track or close to the bottom?
Yeah, so you literally come out start gate, and it was like corner, little step down, and then right after that.
Was that where it came like up the bank?
Yeah, a little bit.
So you could actually see it on like the first camera, yeah. It was like, was it a bit off camber as well? Or no?
Yeah, it was like, the jump wasn't off camber, but the landing was off camber, and so you kind of, just got sucked into it, and we OTB as well.
That's a bugger as well, because you wouldn't have even got to a split at that point, so you can't even...
No.
Which, I don't know, it's almost like a 50-50, because it's like, do you want to know that you were going to qualify, or would you rather just write that one off? It's like...
Yeah, it was...
Because if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. It doesn't matter if you're on pace, but...
Yeah.
I think I'd quite like to know if I was where I could see myself.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to at least get a split.
What was quite nice about Leo Gang was like the first 3 splits I kind of got before I then...
Yeah, and were you comfortably in qualifying for Leo Gang, or up until the crash?
I would have been. Yeah, I would have qualified in Leo Gang if I stayed on, but unfortunately. But yeah, Leger, I think a few people have also said the same thing. I think it could have been up there, but next year.
Just another race, it all happened.
Yeah.
And then what was after that, Maribor?
Yeah, so then we had like a massive 4-week
break.
Actually, it was more than that. I think it was almost 6 weeks, something like that. Big break in between.
Where did you stay in that?
So I did 2 weeks with a couple French mates down in... It was more down towards basically the south of France, and spent like 2 weeks there. I couldn't really ride at that point because I'd done my finger and concussion.
Because when you did a few enduros as well, was that in that 6 weeks?
Oh yeah, that was before that. So I did 1 enduro before. That was after Leo Gang, so in between those 2.
Ah, right. So in between Leger.
Yeah.
Ah, so it was way earlier on.
Yeah. And then I was meant to do another one after Leger, but obviously the finger and the concussion wasn't so great. No. So I was sidelined for that one, and then basically chilled out for 2 weeks, and then came back to Morzine, and I did 4 weeks there.
How did you find Port de Soleil with all those lifts? Were they all open while you were there?
Yeah, they were all open, but it seemed to rain almost every day. So
from the snows as well.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was just
you either get the driest conditions or
the really wet,
pissing down wet, and it was a wet summer, wasn't it? Yeah, from what I remember from videos.
Yeah, so I mean it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely wet. So
that's unreal. Makes you definitely opens your eyes when you get back to Queenstown. And you're like, imagine if we had that many lifts up every hill. Think of like the terrain you'd be able to cover, but
it's crazy.
It's just a shame the snow doesn't come down here, so there's not really a whole lot of need unless biking really kicks off.
No.
We can always hope. But I don't want to skip over the enduros because you went pretty good at those, because that's different. You have is it under 21s the category? So you weren't racing the senior class there, and you podiumed. Was it all the races you did? You podiumed?
Yeah. So it was what was it? Val de
Fassa.
Yeah.
Was the first one, and then I
can't remember the next one.
Was it Le Thrill?
Oh yeah, Le Thrill.
Was that in there? Yep.
But so it's like split. Obviously they changed it, so it was like you do 2 races in 1 week pretty much. And then the first one I did, I was third, and then the next one was second.
Yeah.
So within the same week. So.
Because I definitely didn't see you going out as the enduro girl before you left.
Me neither, to be honest, but I thought I'd give it a go. Well, actually, on that, it was quite interesting because originally I actually was only going to race all enduro. Like,
really?
I wasn't going to do any...
No downhill?
No, but this is where... the only reason I could then race the downhill was because I got on that trade team with the YD Racing.
Yeah.
So basically, if I hadn't got on that, I wouldn't have been allowed to race the downhill because of Cycling New Zealand's like, COVID, we can't... We won't enter you sort of situation. So I'd actually like entered quite a few enduros, and then when I found out I could actually then race the downhill, I was like, oh, we're not going to do so many. We're going to focus on the downhill. Yeah.
I can't believe that it was that way around. If anything, I would have been like, we're sending you for the downhill. Yeah. Maybe not the enduros, but panned out pretty good because 2 podiums on.
Yeah, I mean, not complaining, but yeah. So it wasn't actually that bad. It was quite good. No,
so there wasn't too much pedaling in there.
No, I mean, I guess because it's like split between the two. It's shorter stages, but also shorter pedals. Yeah. So
had you done much enduro racing before that?
I did the Phoenix Enduro, and also the Enduro that we had here in Queenstown.
Oh yeah, the Commensal one. Yeah, when we were zebras.
Yeah, that's right. The zebras. Yeah. So that was like kind of the only enduro races I'd done. And then,
straight in there.
I was like, let's go do some enduros, so, yeah.
Yeah, and you think they'll be on the cards again for next year, or are you going to look at focusing more?
Yeah, I'm going to do probably a couple, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
maybe
cool.
1 or 2 here and there, but...
May as well, you're going all that way.
Yeah, so... But no, definitely more focused on the downhill stuff, rather than the enduro. But we'll see what happens, yeah.
So back to the downhill, we'll get to Maribor.
Yeah.
Was that, and that wasn't a double header either, or?
No, just single round.
Just a single round. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did you go at that one?
So I qualified 7th, and then in finals I was 8th, and then in that run I kind of like slipped a pedal in one section. I lost like a good couple seconds, so I was like already up and then just down, and so I kind of...
Could you see from the split?
Yeah, and the splits affected me quite a lot. And
where were you positioned before that? Do you know?
So I was up at all the splits until then.
Yeah.
And then, I went back by like 2 seconds or something.
Oh,
I think I was up by like 1 point something. And then, went down by like almost 2 seconds just from the unclip and like trying to get back in on this off-campus section. And I just remember... Like, I was so stoked about the 8th, but I just remember thinking, like, if I didn't unclip, I just, like, seeing where I could have been was like, oh.
The women's racing this year was so sick for how tight the times are. That's got to be the tightest season I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were quite spread out, though. I mean, but majority of them were quite tight.
Or even we've gone back to Leogang with... like Valley being up and then crashing.
Oh yeah,
it was
still
like
second. Yeah, I know.
It was such like a crazy year of just like, what was it? How many times did that happen to Valley? It was happened at the first
Twice.
2. Yeah,
yeah, and Leger
as well.
The
final corner
down.
And it, like, not that you want to see that, but as a spectator, like because you think somebody's got it in the bag when they're like, she was
pretty much from the finish line.
Yeah, you could not have seen that happening, and then it did, and you would, as a spectator, it was awesome. but shit for
Valley,
not
so great.
It kept you on your toes right up to the line.
Yeah, well, you just don't expect it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I enjoyed both racing this year. It was awesome. And then where was after that? Did we have any more European rounds? One.
Yeah, so we had after Maribor.
Was it World
we
Champs?
went to World Champs,
which was so sick.
Yeah, that was sick. I absolutely loved that track, and I remember kind of looking at it, obviously, the year before, and kind of doing some,
a bit of research, watching Sam Hill runs.
Being like, holy, like, this is gonna be gnarly. But then, riding it, I was like, oh, okay, like, this is sick.
Yeah.
So, I was really, really happy with that result. So that was another 8th as well. Yeah, seemed to be consistent with the 8ths. And
was it a similar people that were always ahead and behind you, or was it kind of a mix? Just so happened to be your position. Was it always changing around you, or
actually?
Do you have somebody like that you're like in the next race like I'm gonna beat this?
Well, funnily enough, it was either Millie would qualify like the next place in front of me, or she'd qualify behind me.
Yeah.
And then it would like rotate in finals, or that
Vice
sort of
versa.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of a like swapsy happening there. So yeah, that was quite entertaining.
So the Jess Millie
yeah,
battle goes on to next year.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. But yeah, so Valdisol was sick, and then we went from there to Lenzerheide, but I didn't race Lenzerheide.
Was that concussion as well, or was it?
No, I had a couple crashes in practice, and then one of them I just kind of smacked my head again. Not like super bad, but it was just to the point where I was like, I don't really want to risk it, like based on the fact I'd already had a pretty solid one in Leger, and then
yeah, well, if you don't
kinda,
like rest them, only takes like small knocks after that. You don't even have to have a big one for it to.
So I did like practice on finals day, and then I just kind of was like, I can't do it. I gotta pull the pin on this one. Yeah. So I did qualifying.
Was that hard to make? Because obviously, again, being your first year, you really want to go and make an impression, and your results are getting better and better, and then to try and pull the pin.
Out. Yeah.
Did you find that tough? Or?
Yeah, it was a really hard one. It was a tough one because it was like, I feel like there was a lot of pressure on me to do it, but then there wasn't at the same time. So.
Was that from yourself or from...
Yeah, mainly myself, but also I guess I felt like the people watching me would like expect me to kind of...
Did you... Because as the season went on, did you feel like there was a bit more attention on you from like trade teams? Was that something on your mind?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was a little bit
on my mind. A few more people like chatting to you after each race.
Yeah, so that was a bit on my mind as well, but... Yeah, like I did qualifying, and I still qualified, but I had a horrible run, and I was not happy, and then decided to give it another night, see what happens. Did practice, and I was just not feeling on it. So yeah, it was a really tough one to actually pull out of.
Yeah, just enjoy the location as best you can.
Yeah, actually, it's a really nice place, so I will say that was probably the only good thing.
Yeah. What and then it was off to America after Lenzerheide. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And how long were you there for? What was?
So we basically flew out the day after Lenzerheide straight to, I guess, we went to New York for a bit actually. Did some like cruising around there. A little bit of tourist stuff. Touring stuff. And then where did we go to? Can't remember the bike park name. It's not good at me. No. But anyway, we went there. We did some riding there. Ethan was doing some testing, and I was just cruising around, sort of thing. And then that was for a good couple of days, and then off to Snowshoe.
Which was a double header, wasn't it? Yeah. Mm. How was that? Just knowing, were you like, damn, it's going to be a busy week, or were you just like, yeah, I'm just riding my bike?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be quite tough. Obviously, a single round is quite tough in general, so having two kind of back-to-back is even more. So I mean, I knew what I was in for.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And what was the setup again for that? Was it a practice day, race day? So
we did track walk, which, funnily enough, so they'd tape kind of both tracks.
Yeah.
But it was only really the top part that kind of changed, and then like a little section in the middle that also kind of changed. But I mean, yeah, it's quite funny because when we first did track walk, no one really knew which track was like race 1 or race 2. So everyone was kind of like...
So first practice, you're like, oh, are we going to turn left? Or
well, no, actually first practice I dropped in and I was like, oh, we're not going that way. We're going that way.
Straight through the tapes.
Yeah, no, actually. Because like one of the ways was like off this like kind of wooden drop thing. Jump-ish. And then the other way was just like this real tight like section, and I just remember coming around the corner and being like, oh, we're not going off the drop.
The marshal's like, okay.
Yeah, so that was quite...
Did you see the whale tail thing? Before it got taken out?
Yeah, I did actually. We were there when it was like getting pulled out. Yeah, everyone was kind of complaining about that.
It looked pretty sketchy just from a photo I saw on one of the websites.
It wasn't too great, no.
It was like, are you going to try and triple the whole thing? Like, stepping on and stepping off that speed would have been...
You wouldn't even been able to, though, because the chicane coming into it was too tight for that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But it would have been, like, almost too fast to... You would have had to scrub it, or was it just sketchy?
It just would have been sketchy in general.
Yeah.
But even the thing they added into it was just weird as well. Like,
yeah,
it was just like a tight chicane, and the grass kind of like eventually blew out, and it was just like, and then pull up and.
It's good to see new things, but yeah. It's probably good. What made that go? Was it the rider reps that kind of spoke up for that one, or do you know?
I think so. Yeah. All I know is like I just remember hearing like there was a group chat and everyone was not so happy about it. And so everyone was complaining, and then they removed it, thankfully. So yeah, it's
good because I think as a trail builder, it's like you want to try and do something different, but then
not that. I think the container idea that they had
at the end, what they ended up with.
No, like the previous year or whenever, I can't remember when Snowshoe was last.
Yeah.
The World Cup, but when they had like that container and it was just like a big long jump off it.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the sickest one.
Yeah.
But
it's always good to see new
what
things.
They do next
you
year.
Never know.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you end up in the first race? Were you around about that 7 or 8 mark again?
No, so first race it was kind of all like, it was getting to a point where I was like, not super homesick, but just everything was like building up, and I was like, it was like you're getting close to going home sort of thing. And like big season, and then some other stuff. And
sorry to interrupt, but was that a nice? In a nice way you were going to go home, or like you didn't want the season to end kind of home?
Oh, like, no, it was a bit of both. Like, didn't want to go home, but also wanted to go home. And
yeah,
it was a bit interesting, but and then some other stuff, and then just kind of wasn't mentally on it. And then I still qualified. I think I was like 11th or something, 13th.
Yeah, so a bit back on where you had been in the last couple of rounds.
I was a bit back, but like the good thing was I was still qualifying even with a like
run
really
you weren't happy
bad
with.
Run.
Yeah.
So and then I think I ended up like outside top 10 in the final as well. So I was not happy about that.
Yeah.
And then obviously came into round 2 and then qualified 9th or 8th? 9th. I think it was 9th. Yeah. Final didn't go so great, so
which we all know. If anyone wants to see it, they can just go back on Rebel. We don't have to talk too much about that.
You can watch that one if you want to.
But and then that takes us back to Bingen. What so other things that you had a pretty varied year though, because you started off the year by going to Utah. Anyway, so that was pretty sick. What was the deal with that?
So basically both Vinny and I were riders for formation, and then we're there for we flew out about, I think we spent like 3 days there just like before it anyway.
So formation's like it's not
a competition. It's just like basically all the girls are there, and everyone's kind of like collaborating with like either lines or like that sort of, it's like everyone's pushing you on to like to ride something, but it's not pressure, it's just like riding with the girls.
But it's like a Rebel Rampage style event, even though like it's non-competitive. So it's a pretty cool format, sort of like the way that they run it. I think for now is like a really good start for like kind of that free ride progression for females. So basically we did like 3 days before it started, like just kind of riding in the desert, like getting used to that stuff, and then like pretty full on week of just like bit of digging.
We
on
did
the stage yourself.
we had like 3 days of digging, and how
did you find that?
It was actually really good.
Swung many spades before you'd gone over there?
No. I actually hadn't. I think, I'm not gonna lie, I think that was probably like the first time I'd actually properly swung a shovel. Like I had like done a couple, backyard or like during lockdown. I remember last year, just like going.
So you quite like something. Jumping straight in the deep end, straight to the senior class, just straight into building your own because those jumps weren't small either. They were pretty damn big,
massive. It was basically like rebuilding all the old stuff that the boys had kind of done. So. It was good. It was interesting, but yeah, those 3 days were quite tough digging. The last day, yeah.
And how are your hands? I know if I've been on the spade all day and then I go and ride what I've just built, like I find it so hard to ride because my hands are like so sore from digging, so I can't even ride the thing. And then
I think I did the first day without gloves, and then the second day I did like half a day, and then everything started peeling off, and I was like, oh, really?
Oh, we're gonna send this.
It's not done a good job here, so no, we still had like another dig day after that, and then I put the gloves on. At that point, it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, and then I had to like ride with like these like big kind of blistery, plastery things on my thumbs because I couldn't hold on properly.
Yeah.
And then, I guess the skin kind of comes off and...
Just got to crack on.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but then, once you ride it, it was sick. Yeah.
And is that on the radar again for next year, do you think? Is that even being announced yet?
It hasn't been announced yet, but...
That's on your radar?
It's on my radar.
If it's up, you're keen to go back?
Yeah, well, I know it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be, how would you feel if that turned into a competition style event? Would it, I know it would change it, but would it still be something you'd be interested in if you were like, all right, now I'm going to get judged on my line?
I mean, I know formation itself wouldn't turn into a competition. It would definitely be like a women's rampage sort of thing, which I'd actually definitely be keen for.
Sick.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of wanted to do that sort of thing. So, if it ever did, when it does, hopefully, I'd definitely be keen for that.
Yeah. Do you think the, like, how they promote the female side of mountain biking is pretty good? Because I think if you look at, like, motocross, like, unless you're, like, Vicky Golden or someone, like...
Yeah, don't really know anyone else.
Don't know too many people. Like, it's no female supercross, televised
really.
one, you know? Whereas, like, the females... Do you think...
I think this year, like... Formation kind of kicked it off and everything's like spiked and like now all of a sudden you hear about all these like women and
well, Casey Brown had the dark horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Like Casey had that, and then Hannah had was it Hang Time? Yeah, like those two kind of like kicked it off because it was like, oh, okay, now we've actually got women like creating their own kind of individual events as well. So
and you see it in the like working in the bike park. There's the amount of females that are getting into it over, and not just like in the past it was because of like their boyfriends dragging them along and then be like, oh, it's actually pretty cool, but now it's like there's so many females that are seeing like you do it, or like I think because of the press, and they're like, oh, this looks pretty sick. Like I think it's more relatable I guess if a chick's doing it. I
think that, and also once you see like kind of that there is a pathway for like females, then like more people are like, oh, okay, like I'm actually gonna jump on it, because I think back then it was tricky to get recognized and like to be known, whereas now you kind of like know a lot more.
What do you think of when you go on Instagram and you go to search someone and there's all these shit photos of like influencers, chicks? What do you think of like people that's maybe
just like posing?
Yeah, just posing with bikes. Is that just like, are you like good on you for just making a career of it?
That's not on my Instagram, so I don't quite know what you're searching, but...
it just comes up. Well, I look at like everything. Well, if you've never seen it, then you won't know what I mean. But it's quite cringeworthy.
No,
and I think
like
really. That's so like the opposite from what you're doing is like really promoting the sport and making it like quite cool. And then you see these like posing photos, and you're just like, for me, I'm like, what brand wants that? Like, who wants to promote the gear on that sort of post? Like, it's so unrelatable to what mountain biking really is.
I can't say I've seen it, but I mean, there's like, all I can think of is like when people are like, you know, posing with a bike who actually do ride. Yeah. But I haven't quite seen the actual like fake posing sort of situation.
I don't know how fake it is.
I haven't really thought of that, but you know what I mean. What
well, what I was going to say is I don't know. If that was like what you feel like as a backward step. I guess if you're not seeing it, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Maybe it just goes to men's Instagram pages.
Maybe it's just on little For You page, whatever it is. Yeah.
But I think it's actually like pretty cool when then you see what you guys doing out in the desert, which is like actually gnarly. Yeah. And I think that is like what's cool is even, you know, inspires like young boys as well. Mm-hmm. Not that it matters what like gender it is, but I think it is just
anyone.
When people see a chick that should inspire, you just imagine it inspiring like young girls, but there's like a kid riding the bike park and he's always got a pom-pom t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Which I think is like pretty dope. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter to him. It's just like a sick rider, and it just happens
exactly.
that rider's a chick. And what you guys are doing is like those jumps in the desert were actually
yeah,
big.
They were kind of
and
big, yeah.
you know, like actually anyone could watch that and be like,
well,
damn, that's sick.
Yeah.
Out of all the events and things, what you're gonna just go back, and then are you looking to just keep knocking off all these different disciplines? Because as well, you like, there's not many riders in general that are competing at the top level like what you are. Like across, like Eddie does it for the males, you know, with he goes like real good at enduros, real good at downhill, but he doesn't do rampage stuff. You got Brendan Fairclough, who's downhill, the rampage, and then but not so much enduro side of things. But they're ticking off all three. I think that's kind of a rare thing just for riders in general. Is that something that you've thought about, or you just naturally just take up offers that end up your way?
I don't really think of it that much. I guess, it was just I guess it just happened to be that I'd done the enduro and then the downhill and the freeride like rampagey stuff. So I mean, going forward, I want to. Obviously, my focus is definitely a bit more on the downhill racing and also the freeride stuff. Like, I think a lot of people think that, like, going forward, I'm, like, all downhill stuff. But to me, I actually really enjoy the freeride as well. And I think I want to keep it open like that. And, like, to be able to do both. So, like, I'll definitely do a couple EWS here and there when I can, if I want to,
Takes you to some pretty good places, pretty good tracks.
True, that is true. So we'll see what happens. Plus, I've got another couple other ideas in mind of things I want to do. So
sweet
events.
Nothing you can say right now.
No, we're working on it. I've got to.
Oh, so it's not like fully.
It's not quite confirmed. I just want to. I'm trying to see if I can get into it. Yeah.
I reckon. It's quite sensible.
Yeah. So we're keeping that on the dealer right now.
What do you think could be done better from the events you went to, say with the World Cups? Is there anything that you think could be done better there?
I don't think anything could be done better. I mean, I thought what I thought was quite cool was like almost all the tracks were changing at least some part of the track.
Yeah.
So like rather than having the same track that everyone's raced for the last like however many years.
Yeah.
They've like tried to like switch it up in like maybe the middle of the track, the start of the track, or like something in it. So I thought that was quite cool, but there were like a few places that didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, and then like a few riders talk about like, come on, like everyone else has made an effort to try and change it.
Do they fix it up as well, or is it still like brake bump from the last time?
No, it's still horrible. Yeah. No, that hasn't changed. So
No, not great.
No. But might have to get a shovel.
Get a shovel now.
Yeah.
After you just take it from Rampage.
Yeah, just go and touch everything up. Yeah.
Just make sure you wear gloves.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
We'll wrap it up pretty much now. Is there anyone that you'd like to just say like, cheers to from the year, or anything like? You got this big question. Who do you think the next James Bond's going to be?
The next
James Bond.
I don't know.
It's on everyone's lips.
I don't know. No.
Not me.
Oh, you? Okay. No, I don't know. But no, actually, I do have a lot of people I can thank. Big list, but I'll just name a few. I mean, obviously Seedon, iLab, Rod, Jury too, GT as well, of course, and everyone else that supported me this year. So I'm super thankful for them.
Awesome. And then we'll see you as soon as possible in hopefully January.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers tightly crossed.
Yes.
Very nice.
Very nice.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll probably maybe have a more chilled out chat next time. That one turned into a bit more of an interview than what we had planned to be, but there you have it.
Thanks for having me.